Hello and welcome back to this fairly different episode of the Power Podcast. I've actually got two guests who you might see that I've just added their little icons on the screen just now. We've got Fallen Monk D20.
Hello. Hey, thanks
And
for having me here, buddy.
that's all right. That's all right. Thank you for joining. And we have CookieSwagga.
Hey, I don't know why you keep inviting me back.
It's because you're very opinionated on this show called Invincible. So, for those of you who are listening to this and you don't know what Invincible is, it was an animated show that was based on a set of comics, and the main hero is called Invincible, or at least that's what he names himself. And today we're going to be talking about the actual show, the 8 episodes that they have, or that they animated in on. I think it was on Amazon Prime, and I think that was it. But yeah, they had 8 episodes. Each one was around about an hour. So we're going to be talking about some of the different powers that we got to see in there. So we'll obviously go back and forth about actually talking about the show and actual powers. So I'll just get into it. Viltrumites, like Mark
Yeah.
and Omni-Man. Also, just throwing this out there now, heavy spoilers are coming out straight out of the gate, as we find out that all Viltrumites can fly and have super strength.
Mhm.
Yeah, which is very cash money unless you're on the receiving end of world domination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people compare them to the Kryptonians for that sake, but nearly that makes them arguably more or less powerful since they're just missing Superman's weakness and his breath and eye rays. So
They're pretty much like someone said that they're more like the Daxamites from the same universe, where they because Daxamites have super strength but they don't have flight, and they have physical durability but they don't have a weakness to kryptonite, but instead they have a lethal lead weakness. But Viltrumites don't seem to have any weaknesses. They're just very durable, very strong, and they can fly.
I'm very sociopathic.
I
to
mean,
varying degrees.
that, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, depending on which one that they are. I
Oh,
no go.
like god dang, that Think Mark Think. He went hard on his kid there.
Oh
That was
yeah,
rough.
although as I've said before, I still think that was such a great cut down. Think, Mark, think. What would you have then? You, Dad. I'd have you.
Yeah.
Just
Like
Uh,
cut down.
that was such a good line. I've swapped between liking Mark and being on him the whole series, but I genuinely like that moment. It was
You
a
know,
bittersweet
You
moment.
know what? I didn't notice it until I actually was talking with Cookie on this. I only realised it is so imperative that in the first episode he tries to act all tough against his mother, who has no powers, and she goes, "Does that make you feel big? Does that make you feel better because you know that I can't physically stop you?" And then right at the end, he doesn't beat his dad through being stronger than him. He beats his dad through saying the right word, through being the right person. And
Yeah,
I think,
only after he got his teeth knocked the fuck out, and then his dad went,
yeah,
"Wow, remember when my kid was like 8? Damn."
damn, I beat my kid so hard, my memory regressed to when he looked like
yeah.
that before.
Yeah. The last time he lost that many teeth.
Oh
Uh,
my god.
yeah,
Uh,
it does remind me of a little bit of a Castlevania sort of Alucard versus Dracula sort of style thing. I won't get
I haven't
into
man,
watched
that.
it.
I won't get into that.
Dracula didn't even go that hard on Alucard though.
Oh! I'm not
Poopy
gonna
butt.
spoil it for Cookie's sake, but there is just
Oh,
that thing. He looks at the blood on his gloves. Omni Man does, and it just that's the sort of feeling that I got because
okay,
obviously
yeah. In that moment, sure.
yeah. Mm. again without saying anything.
Yeah,
The
But
we'll have a,
stairs.
we'll talk about Castlevania another time, I guess.
absolutely. I was actually going to say super strength and flight, as well as durability, is actually shown in a lot of characters. Immortal, War Woman. You see it with the Mauler twins. Stuff like that. You don't see flight with them, but you do see super durability and super strength. As in the first episode, they say, "Oh, their puny bullets aren't going to do anything. I prefer a higher caliber."
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
I think it is
yeah,
varying degrees of super durability, isn't it? Isn't it? Not all of them are like definitively bulletproof, but a lot of them have.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
go on.
just kind of like it's kind of like the unsaid nonfiction rule of everyone has durability, just to what extent, like,
Yes.
and just how far you can come back from it. Since I mean, everyone in the X-Men universe has probably taken about as much damage as Deadpool and Wolverine have, but they're the ones that can actually really regenerate from it from nothing.
I mean, there in the movie universe is definitely not, but in a lot of the animated and the comics, yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, either that or like there's the rule of what is it? There's the rule of power efficiency and power coincidence, where it's like if they have a power, this particular scenario is going to happen. For instance, why is it that Superman's weaknesses are always appearing in his comics? It's because his power conveniently needs to be diminishing to make it an interesting fight. And I
Mm.
think I think this is the conversation that I really wanted to sort of etch in, which is why is it so important that Mark isn't truly invincible from the get-go? Like, why he isn't invulnerable. Spoiler alert, even at the end of the series, he still isn't living up to his name in the terms of him actually being invulnerable to physical damage.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's very invincible.
yes.
The only thing he's invincible to is Amber's bullcrap. I'm sorry.
Ah,
Is the
hand wave.
Cookie? Do you want to go?
What
All
do you like,
right.
Amber Cookie?
Oh no, I think they're both stupid in that regard. Like they should have just
That's fair.
cold turkey that shit.
Like, yeah, honestly, like I don't get. I noticed a lot of people hate Amber. I just feel like they shouldn't have got back together. I was overall
That's
okay with her though.
To be
yes.
honest, I was fine with her until she goes, "Hey, let's get back together," and I was just like,
Yeah. Oh.
but why
Ah.
though? Like,
Yeah,
he's not changed in any way. If anything, he's now like more emotionally damaged than when you last like were with him.
yeah. No, that,
Yeah.
like in a
Ah.
moment, if she came to him just like, "Hey, I just wanted to be your friend to make sure you're okay in this moment," I would have been okay with it. But
I would
her
have loved
instance,
that.
like, "Hey, you are in a very emotional, vulnerable state right now, and I know I kicked you to the curb, but you want to get back together."
I think
Yeah. Where whenever she goes, I figured I could be here for you as your girlfriend, and I was like, no, get the fuck back.
I
Get the fuck back in your corner.
I think it's so important to remember though that they are 17-year-olds and both of them probably haven't really ever had a relationship. So for them, their belief in we are physically and emotionally attracted to each other to some level of a degree, even after the breakup. And the only thing that I know how to make things better is to make you feel emotionally stable, even if it's only for a short period of time. So why don't we try and do this? It's the exact same thing that Mark tried to do when he goes, "So I'm invincible," and he thought that was his get out of jail free card. And obviously, as we said in the last episode, Mark is very stupid for believing that. That is a total douche move. Like, so I'm
Yeah.
invincible, It's alright. It's
Yeah,
all
that
good.
was a douche move, and that what she did was also a douche move. So, like,
They're
I
meant
don't
for each
hate
other.
her. I just don't like how she went about supporting Mark. Like Adam Eve and his friend,
If they
what's
had,
his nuts?
if William,
Like,
if they had done it
Yeah.
where she eventually became romantically, you know, connected to him again. If they had actually gotten together over a certain amount of time, maybe even in season 2 over a longer period of time, then I would have still been fine with that. But it was just like, hey, so your dad just damn near tried to kill you, and then just killed a load of people with your body. Your mother's life is just completely ruined, and your entire past life has just been your last 17 years of your life has just basically been a lie. So, and I know that we left things on really rocky terms, and you were just kind of almost about to get over it. So you remember me? Yeah, how about we do this again? So that was a bit...
Yeah.
But...
God dang Eve just watching it from the sidelines as well, just not saying anything. It's like her restraint's impressive.
Yeah, so yeah, what I was going to say was the fact that we show Mark isn't invincible. I think it's so important that he isn't invincible, not only physically but emotionally, because it's the whole point of him. The whole point of the story is a coming of age story, and the whole point of him getting to be a hero is that he has to learn and build up his repertoire of abilities, fighting styles, as well as his power. And I am glad that we are told eventually he will get more powerful. But I am glad that they told us that he will get more powerful eventually, rather than in another couple of days or weeks, your powers will eventually kick in, and then you will not ever be able to take damage again. I like that it will become eventually certain things you can take, certain things you won't. Kind of almost there's a limit to the amount of pressure that his body is able to go under. I mean, we see Omni-Man take a lot of hits that Mark can't, as well as dish out a lot that Mark can't, but you also see Omni-Man does get hurt and injured by at least 2 or 3 people. So, pinch of salt, I guess. Does it? Do either of you want to bring up any of the other powers? I'll let you guys have a go.
Ladies first, Fallen.
Yeah. I think my hair is longer than yours right now, so. Let me think. I was about to say, I kind of mentioned a little bit while we were just talking before, but something I really liked that they mentioned was how Red Rush sees the world, how everything is slowed to him to the point where he basically just has ADHD on steroids because he has to wait very long to focus on anything since everything's so slow to him.
It's like if you put the world in 0.5 speed, and it's everything feels so slow, and you have no abilities. However, it did create the most perfectly romantic line in the entire show. Everything feels like an eternity. It's so painful that you can't see the world like I see it. Everything feels as if it's going. A minute is an hour. An hour is a day. It feels so long. But he goes, I used to think that this thing was a curse, and until I met you, and now I can just savor every single second of your face, of every action that we ever have together. It's oh, that's so good. That's so good. But there was one thing that he couldn't outrun.
Alert. Yeah, spoiler alert, he dies.
Yeah.
In a very horrible way.
Yeah, and so I was actually surprised. I looked up a video comparing the comics to the show, and apparently in the comics, they spent no time really building up their league at all. So I don't even know if them scenes between Olga and Red Rush even happened.
Damn, well, I'm glad they did.
I did read that in the comics that Omni-Man versus the Guardians, no contest for the Guardians. He just, slaughters them. But I like that in the show, it shows that he had to work for that. Yeah, he was powerful, but they were also, they were the Guardians of Earth for a reason, and they worked together really well. Red Rush kept them alive for as long as they were able to.
It really goes to show, because I think it's there's a moment where you have certain characters that like have strategical value, and then there's characters that have physical value. And there's that thing in the DC where there's this comic called Batman Endgame, and Joker's sort of messing around with a lot of things to do with Batman's life. He even finds out his secret identity and all of this stuff. But one of the things that he does is he gets the entire league against him, and he has to fight every single one of them, one after the other, and he takes them down in such incredible ways. And the main ones that sort of remind me is he gets attacked by Wonder Woman, and at the exact moment she attacks him, he puts these little discs on her temples where she just sees a virtual reality. And so she thinks that she's killed Bruce. And then Batman then gets into like his like special test suit, and it senses that the Flash is running towards him because like it's detecting like sonic booms, so it like automatically sprays oil without his say so, and immediately the Flash just smashes into a building. Aquaman like tries to take him down, and it just covers him in like this foam that's just sucking the moisture out of his body, so he's starting to like slowly like dehydrate. And then finally, like, Superman rips him out of this suit, and it's like, shit, what is he going to do? And he just crunches this capsule in his tooth and spits like this weird toxin laced with kryptonite into his eyes. And because he can't get it out of his eyes, he starts falling. And they're falling for such a great height, but Batman just uses Superman's body as a way to like cushion the fall, because he knows that even though that it's weakening him, he will still survive the fall, and so therefore he lands on Superman as they both survive the fall. But it is that thing of Omni-Man, on the other hand, he has not only the power but also just the sheer ferocity. Like, they're thinking he's under mind control, and he's just like, I'm gonna kill these dudes. I'm gonna just kill them. I don't care. I'm gonna kill him. And then they're just thinking, maybe we have to hold back, because if we kill him, we've killed an innocent man who's being controlled. So, I think that's quite interesting to see that. I don't think we ever see mind control in this series.
I don't either. So that's interesting that they brought that up, but because no one seemed to like him at first. But their instant reaction still, no, he couldn't do this. So it really also shows just how deep cover he was going under.
There was like, oh, it's this guy who's like doesn't want to be a part of our group but wants to take credit. But it's like, yeah, okay, he's still a guy, he's still a friend, sort of thing. And then it's like when he just completely wrecks house, it's like, no, this couldn't be possible. He would never do this, even though he's kind of a kill-stealing jerk or anything. It's not like he's actually killing people, and now he's killing us.
What I find super crazy is that, like, during the entire fight, he didn't say anything.
Yes.
Not one word.
Yeah.
Because he's not remorseful of their deaths, I feel like, at all. Like, even after the Mark finally going, hey, I would have you, Dada. But after the funeral of the Guardians, he didn't care. He was ready for pizza.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, so what part of him, like, is guilty? Like, is it just the part that affected his family? Like, holds up gun to Omni-Man. Tell me your secrets, motherfucker.
I definitely have to agree. I have no idea what is his deal, and then you finally realise, and it makes sense.
It also could just tie into the mindset he even has for his own wife, where he barely even thinks of her the way he was acting. So it could just be, since they're all humans at root, he just really doesn't care about them at all.
True.
Yeah,
Omni-Man.
I still think the only reason that he said as a pet is not out of the lack of love that he had for her. I think it's more of he's come to terms with the fact that he does love her very much, but he knows that she's going to die way before his lifespan is up, so he's come to terms with it. So it's not like he doesn't nor did he ever not love her. It's just this thing of, I know that you're gonna die, and I know that I can't have her. I think that's one of the reasons why he was so upset that Mark was getting his powers, because he then realized, like, oh, I have to snap back to reality. These two aren't, because he could technically have lived there for 80 years waiting for them all to die. Because if he never had his powers, that meant that he's not pure Viltrumite. And then they both die, and he's like, anyway, right, yeah, I'm now going to conquer the planet now. But as soon as he gets powers, he's like, well, I can't outlive this dude anymore, so here we go.
Yeah.
Which is another thing. Age, slower aging, or almost a ridiculous level of immortality, I guess, because we see at least two characters that are functionally immortal, and an entire race that are relatively, not able to age. The first one is, I'm going to say duplicate, because as long as she can keep making another copy, it doesn't matter how many of her copies die, she can keep on living.
Yeah, but that's not really immortality, would it? Because, she'll age. Right?
Yeah, it's a function. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we have full immortality, but ageless, we had that.
Yes, we definitely had ageless, and there was another one where I wanted to actually say, the Mauler twins kept cloning each other, but I was going to say there was immortal. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who actually is functionally immortal, doesn't age, and as long as he can be put back together, he can heal most wounds.
Yeah.
He was decapitated, and why didn't they? That's another thing. That's another thing I'm upset about. The government didn't put his head on his body.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of Jack Harkness vibes. Like, if either of you have ever heard of Doctor Who, there's this one dude, he keeps coming back, to life. And there's a moment where they say, just chop him up into separate pieces and send all those separate pieces to different locations in the world, because then he can't resurrect. I guess that's Immortal's weakness as well. Just separate his pieces and he can't come back. But
Which is so...
His body doesn't
It seems like an
decompose,
oversight. Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of did. That is something I didn't really think about, because Cecil was shown to be very smart throughout the whole series, but somehow the Mauler twins were able to bring him back, but he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if the reason why is because that he knew that Nolan killed them, but if he brought back Immortal, it would then mean that there would be a definite grudge match, and he's like, look, he killed all of you. Just you is not going to be enough. So maybe that's the reason why.
There's so many things I'm upset about with the Cecil. Was it Cecil?
Cecil, yeah.
This motherfucker, the immortal thing, sure. It wouldn't have been enough, but it would have been someone else besides fucking Mark. No offense, Mark, boo-boo, love you, but Jesus Christ, that kid got wrecked.
I mean, he's only just realized his powers, so yeah.
I know, I'm just saying, it would have been nice to have more backup than people watching as a kid got his ass kicked. But also, remember, he sends off the devil detective back to hell because he's like, this can't get out. And I'm like, why not? Why not?
Which is kind of funny, because I was actually going to then say, I guess another set of powers are sort of almost like magical question mark abilities. Because obviously, demon physiology, there's a dude who apparently was a damned soul who became a demon. Cool. So he can turn invisible, But whenever he is invisible, he makes areas cold, and that's about all we know about his physical abilities or any special powers that he may or may not have.
He was so cool, though.
He was so
He
cool. He
was.
was.
Like, god dang, I
Damien
loved him
Darkblood.
so much.
Damien
Yeah.
Darkblood was his name.
Damien Darkblood.
He was so heavily inspired by Hellboy. It wasn't subtle at all, but
Oh,
I
no,
still loved him
I didn't
regardless.
care a single smidgen. I was like, you know what? If they hadn't have blown most of that budget on J.K. Simmons and Stephen is it Stephen Yen? I think it's Stephen Yen or Stephen Young.
Yoon, maybe?
I think it's Stephen Yeun. I think so. If they hadn't have blown their budget on quite a few top-notch voice actors, I reckon they would have tried to have gotten what's his name? The guy who played Hellboy.
Yes,
Ron Perlman. I reckon
that
they
would have
gotten
been so
him.
Rob
good.
Perlman.
But they got the second best
Uh,
possibility, I guess, because I can't remember his name, but he played a really good Damien Darkblood.
Yeah, that whole voice cast was really good.
Oh,
Like, I
fantastic.
can't really think of
Yeah.
any voice I didn't like. Like, and it was a lot of people that don't normally do voices either, so I was impressed by that.
No, absolutely. Cookie, do you have any powers that you that sort of caught your eye that you wanted to sort of question or discuss out loud?
Ahem. Adam, Eve,
Knew it.
my goddess, the light of my life. They did her dirty. So dirty.
How do you mean?
Okay, so she was with the Young Justice. Wait, TM.
Teen Team was people she was
Teen
originally
Team,
with.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying though. And then Rexplode fucked it all up for everyone. Literally.
Rex.
I'll
God dang.
I'll get into Rex in
Yeah.
a second.
Gambit, stupid cousin.
Oh, damn it. You literally just took all the thunder. That's literally everything.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. No, I just love Gambit so much, but I hate Rex. I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I
Yeah.
think the only thing that made it better is because of the voice actor. I don't think that could have been pulled off anywhere near as better if that had, for instance, if they got any other voice actor, everyone would just be like, this guy's just an a-hole version of Gambit, only his powers suck like 100% more. Because Gambit's abilities are way OP. And yeah. Anyway, sorry. Yes, Atom Eve.
Adam, Eve, and then whenever the Guardians needed a new member, she didn't go, but she went off on her own. She was actually doing things for the world. Like, Adam Eve's power is basically she can do fucking whatever she wants. And
Pretty
she
much.
was actually, like, helping, like, grow, like, plant, or, farms, stopping natural disasters.
She was literally
all that.
helping the world itself.
Yes, and then whenever she is with Amber and William, and she's like, okay, guys, well, I guess you should know I'm Adam Eve. They go, oh, yeah, you're the one that can duplicate herself. Not disrespect her. Do not disrespect her.
Not only does that hurt me because her powers are like 1,000,000 times better, but I was just like, dude, no, because just
First of all, duplicate is Asian.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They don't even look similar. Costume or anything else.
Costume, voice, physical appearance, racial features, nothing. They don't look anything alike. Hair, I mean, she literally has like red hair. Duplicate has like jet black hair, like. But also their powers are so like astronomically different.
But yeah, that's I want to talk about the disrespect.
So for those who don't know what we're talking about in terms of Atom Eve, she has the power of matter manipulation, or at least she has the ability to generate a strange energy that is able to grab hold of atoms and change their molecular structure. Basically, she has the power of energy manipulation plus alchemistry. Nearly
like
almost
she
reality
built
manipulation.
a house out of a tree. Like,
Yeah,
that doesn't sound impressive because people can do that no matter what. But
No,
she
but
did
she
it in a
waves her
second.
hand and she just makes a
Yeah.
freaking house in a
but
tree.
she's a Minecraft.
Sh-
Yeah.
I'm
She's
sorry.
on.
You broke my
No.
mind just by saying that.
Yeah. She's on. I know the term. I swear I do. The creative mode.
Yes,
Pretty
she
Of
she basically
Minecraft.
has just creative mode. However, here's the question that I was going to say to you. Do you think do either of you think that there's a limit to what she can do? Like, do you think there's a limit that she has to reach, or there's something that she can't do?
Uh, I think right now it's based on her own like energy or because it shows after like the first time she like helped people, she was really tired after using her power so much.
Hmm.
So I think that's what her limit is based off is her own stamina.
Okay.
Yeah,
What about you, Flo?
that that makes sense to me because I'm probably there's got to always be a balance to it, I would think, for her power. And we never really saw her build much more like manipulate matter on a massive scale than like when she built a house or did save some of the people she did. But I imagined it's kind of limited to scales like that in short bursts. I doubt she could just infinitely warp the world if she wanted to.
I feel like
Because
there must be a range limit at least. I think that there must be some kind of, as you said, scale. I definitely think there's a range. I think it's anything that her energy can coat. I think she can only do it to one state of matter at a time. Like, she couldn't, like, hit an entire area and change all the people as well as all the buildings as well as all of the liquids and gases all at once into a multitude of different things, therefore changing everything. I mean, we don't even see her use her power on living matter, like, well, human beings or animals,
Oh, I was about to say she
trees,
grew a fucking
quote unquote.
forest.
Yeah, but trees don't count. She accelerated their growth by imbuing them with energy that can be equivalent to the same as sunlight and photosynthesis. I don't know. Don't question it.
I questioned everything.
Good.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
but yeah, I think they kind of showed it indirectly since when she was saving those people, she always had to fly up closer to them to get to them to do things.
Oh, absolutely.
So it could also be that the closer she is to something, the easier time she can has manipulating it.
That's also kind of an interesting possibility. Her energy seems to be sort of a pinky purple sort of energy. I remember it sort of like maybe if it's some kind of like ultraviolet radiation or even some kind of like special energy spectrum that like isn't normal to be seen or something. Of course, it could just obviously be the big M, which is always the shortcut to every power, just it being magic. Because we do see a couple of magic users, as we said, Damien Darkblood, but also Monster Girl, who has a power based
Yeah,
on a curse.
which
her powers are neat.
They
yeah,
are.
rip the homie though. Jesus.
Yeah, I yeah,
That's
god dang that is interesting since they showed there is some otherworldly powers at bay since Damon Darkblood and was from hell literally. So
mm,
and and he basically was carrying around a Necronomicon, so there's got to be some level of it. So it
I,
seems like it isn't going to be strictly superpower since Black Samson was basically in an Iron Man suit for the first little bit of the series.
and then he gets his powers, which they never explain what they are, and they also never explain how the F he got them back or how he lost them in the first place.
Yeah, I really hope to go into that in season two because honestly, Black Samson's one of the characters I do like in the
I
show.
quite liked his voice actor. Here's the thing: I didn't like his arrogance, but I actually quite liked that what he could bring to the table. I also quite liked that he, despite the fact of his arrogance towards him being an ex-Guardian of the Globe member, he also did seem to be the only one that really knew what it meant to be a hero. That he actually sacrifices himself to try and save people or buy them time, or tries to prioritize helping others. I'm hoping that they'll go more into that. But yeah, it's who knows? Energy, electricity, super strength, all three. Who knows?
Mm,
Rexplode.
yeah. So
Ah, fuck boy.
none of us like him, that's for sure.
I actually have a confession to make.
Oh
If you
no.
say you like him, I'm disowning you.
Oh no.
So
Joe, don't do it. I'm kidding.
What? Yeah,
it
In a
tell us
second,
about
we will.
Douche Gambit. Tell us about Douche Gambit.
two things. I do not like the fact that he is literally just douche Gambit. And I
Yeah.
also don't like that he's not anywhere near as powerful as Gambit. So he's
That's fair.
basically a worse one. However, as I said before, I stand true to it. If it weren't for the voice actor, I do believe that he would be one of the worst characters because they do nothing with his character other than him basically being the living embodiment of the very thing that Mark did with the whole "so I'm invincible" thing.
Yeah.
Rex
Yeah.
thinks that he'll get away with it because that he knows people, because that he is powerful, but because that he is the asshole, because that he doesn't care, and because that he's got all these sort of douchebag tropes, and he never really actually changes that much. It never really feels like as if he's going anywhere. The closest thing that I really felt like he could have had something is when he tries to wash off the blood. And the only thing that I think to that is his arrogance is then met by everyone else going, look, you shouldn't be washing off. And it's like, then leave me alone. It's like, no, you shouldn't be washing it off alone. We should wash it off together as a team. Don't get me wrong, I don't think they were deserving of washing off that blood. But I do think that was a good moment of team exercise, that they're actually trying to work together. But that was not a Rex moment, so no.
Yeah.
So
I had mixed feelings about that scene.
with that
Uh,
in mind, I actually still quite like him because of the voice actor alone, and because of that,
Yeah.
it makes the character.
That
That being
that
said,
guy,
his powers are garbage.
yeah. The moments where I'll just kind of laugh at him or just be, oh, that idiot. He could pull off the character well, but
Yeah.
still, he's probably my least favorite character out of the cast because I'm shocked he even made the cut for the Guardians of the Globe because there's a few people
right?
I
just
Sorry.
think there's a couple reasons for that, but I would save that for another video because I don't know. I feel like going into whether or not he is or isn't deserving is kind of a bit meh. Basically, his power is that he can imbue things with pyrokinetic or pyrotechnic energy, similar to two separate characters, because it's not kinetic like Gambit, but it's pyrotechnic like Jubilee from the X-Men. So he has
that makes
half and
sense.
half of their powers. They explode in fiery goodness. And he usually carries like pocket change, so he can like make things explode. And yes, his real name is Rex, and his hero name is Rexplode.
Unique.
You know what? I will say, I don't know. I just fucking hate him because of what he did to Adam Eve.
To be fair, I think his powers. When I saw them, I was like, "Oh, cool! He's got Gambit powers." And then they started like basically popping like firecrackers, and I'm like, "Oh, cool! He's trash."
Yeah. I I was just in that first little bit, honestly, the robot and Adam Eve really stole the show for me when that
Oh,
entire cast
absolutely.
was introduced. Like Robot is my favorite character in the show. There's a few things about him I want to talk about actually.
Oh,
Whenever we're done
I
with
have
Rex.
He's a
I
genius,
have
but
concern.
he doesn't actually have any powers. Technically, all of his abilities come from his intellect, which I have to say, as a Batman fan and as a what is it?
Fucking, he's weird though.
He is weird. He is weird. Definitely. Don't get me
Weird.
wrong. Like a lot of the things that he does is very questionable, but the dude knows how to like strategize, and thanks to that thing, this weird cerebral chip or object that he places into him, technically he is now superpowered. Technologically, he has got an enhancement that allows him to be technopathic, which means that any piece of his technology can be activated through only thought. Which, cool.
Which, that's what I was talking about earlier. It involves him, where I was saying there's a theory I had for the show that I thought was going one way, but didn't go the other way. So
Okay,
my original theory. Wait, what?
No, go on. Say what it was.
Okay, my original theory was I thought he added Rex to the team. He was going to clone him and replace him, and just try and make his own perfect team. That's what I thought originally was his motive.
Oh, okay. Did I say what I thought mine was last time, Cookie?
I'm a fish. I don't remember.
So I originally thought that when he took his DNA, and then later he started having an interest in Monster Girl, I thought he was going to take her DNA, and then later take Ray's DNA, and then take everyone's DNA, and eventually he was going to make a clone out of literally all of their DNA to be an amalgamous being that had all of their powers.
Yeah.
I thought that's what he was going for. Glad they didn't know, I have to be honest, because as cool-ish as that would have been, it's a very big cop-out with the whole amalgam final character being the boss because that he has everyone's powers.
It's very weird, though. I just, look, I get it, Monster Girl's curse is fucked, but also he was manipulating everyone, so I think and he was willing to work with villains to get what he wanted.
Yeah, but he incarcerated them straight after, so there's definitely nothing to read into there, and he's definitely not shady. He could have
gotten that guard killed.
And he got Immortal brought back by accident.
Yeah, well, technically, I guess that fixes it. One guy has an arm broken, and a dude gets resurrected. Hey-ho.
Okay. But I also think, like, he's... I don't know how to explain it. I think he's up to something bigger than just, oh, I want to be with the girl, you know? I think there's more.
That is
I hope so. I'm interested. And, Joe, it's funny you mentioned that, because his voice actor was actually Silas on Heroes, and Silas's entire thing was, well, do y'all mind if I talk about details from Heroes, the older show?
You know what? Go for it.
Okay.
I love Heroes.
I've never watched it, but I'll hear it out, because I feel like it's too late for me to whine about spoilers.
It's fair, but basically the main antagonist in that series was played by him, Zachary Quinton, the guy that played Spock on the Star Trek movies and a lot of other roles. He's a great actor.
Cool.
And yeah, I think Silas was first ever like big role, and what Silas could do was his power was only that he could fix anything, and to him, everyone with powers is like how he can fix it, and everyone he met that had powers, they sounded like they were broken, like a clock, and he thought by killing them and taking their powers to make himself perfect, he was fixing them.
Oh, okay, damn.
Yeah, he was hardcore.
Yeah.
And he was such a good villain. Like, because he travels across the country collecting powers, and he gets a lot by the end. And so it's really funny you had that theory about Robot.
It's really kind of weird, because I think a lot of amalgam power stealers are pretty much almost always the perfect villains, because it gives the heroes or the protagonists the multiple challenge issue. For instance, you know, I finally have been able to figure out how to beat his super strength. He can now shoot lasers. I finally figured out a way around that, and I hit him hard. He can regenerate. Okay.
Yeah. And Heroes actually there was a lot of problem with Heroes. I won't deny it. The first 2 seasons were great, and after that it was But there, the duality between one of the main heroes and Silas was amazing to me because one of the main heroes was his polar opposite. If he gets close to anybody, he gains use of their power.
Oh, so sort of copying.
Yeah, so he's someone who actually went out and befriended and allied himself all these people, and he got their powers through that. Versus the person who was taking them by force.
That is perfectly poetically beautiful in terms of storytelling as well as also power usage. We never actually got to see any copycats. We got to see Duplicate, who could make multiple of herself, and we got to see Shrink Ray, where she could shrink herself. So basically, she's Atom or Ant-Man. I have to be honest, I don't really care about her, and Duplicate.
I cannot tell you a single thing Duplicate said over the course of the whole series. I just remember 3 of her walking out of the shower with Rex, and I'm like, yo.
I can remember the one thing she said, and it is from that shower scene where she goes, "Oh, you're back early," or "No, we didn't think you'd be back," or something. I'm even misremembering it.
The only thing, so I remember that, but I also remember when Rex said they're not real, and Duplicate says we're all Kate, and I'm like, what does that fucking mean? That's fucking weird.
Yeah, that just has a lot of implications as well. That all of them feel death and know they're going to get cloned to die in some points.
Yeah.
Which I have questions. Then does that mean whenever the clones die, does she feel it?
Does she know how it feels to die, or does she only like create a kind? Hell, is she even the original? Because we know that at one point when like the Flaxons are firing their like death lasers, like it's homing on her, and she creates clone after clone after clone after clone rapidly, so that then like at some point when the laser stops, the one that's the one that doesn't get hit will be the only one alive. And like there's a moment that she gets hit, and it's like she creates like 4 clones in a row, and she's the only one left. And she keeps doing it. She keeps creating clones just at the exact moment that she's about to be killed. So, is she even the original? Does she make like 7 clones, and the 7th one is the original, and then number 7 dies, and then all of the other ones are getting killed, and then only like number 3 is the one that's left? Like, I have so many questions.
That feels like something they should address, because even that was a part I really liked about the Mahler twins, is they actually addressed it. The reason why they do the link at the same time is they don't know who's the original, so they won't so there won't be any like major confusion or fighting amongst each other.
Yeah,
like they make jabs at each other, but they have that understanding of neither of them know who's the original.
Because if you have,
there's also, oh sorry.
No, go on.
There was also the scene where the new Guardians were like together, and they were having a schedule set out for them, and the Kate that was there was like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll tell Kate Prime about this." Who's Kate Prime? Who's that?
She's the original.
Where is she?
Is Kate Prime in a tube like a robot?
I bloody hope not. Not again.
Jokes on you. Everyone was in the tube. The Mahler made everyone.
Creature is a tube baby. It's the only creature that is not a tube baby is technically Mark, although he nearly was a tube baby at the end of season 8. Episode 8, sorry. Jeez, poor Mark. So, I was gonna say. A power that sort of like was sort of shown a little bit, but didn't really get to see much of it, was in the fight scene with Battle Beast when he's fighting against everyone. There's this team of villains that are taken by Machine Head. One of them is like a lava man, similar to sort of almost like Clayface, and I didn't know if he was actually made of lava or if he was just made out of like hot wax, like in a lava lamp. It looked really cool, but it's so much question.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking he'd be more like Aki Inu from One Piece the time when I was seeing him, but
someone else gets the reference. Okay, I was going to say that, but I didn't know if either of you knew that reference. So yes, I thought he might have Logian properties.
Yeah, because One Piece has that interesting take on elemental powers like that. That you become the element itself, and you pretty much have to concentrate on it to keep your body stable.
Oh yeah, and even crazier is that like you're immune to physical attacks because your body is lava and lava doesn't feel pain. Lava doesn't take damage. You'd have to be hit with something that cools you down or something that does some kind of elemental effect.
Or
To
hockey,
you.
or however.
Or special magic,
Yeah, magic. Is the best way to
willpower.
put it. Yeah.
I got the power of God and anime on my side. Ha!
That's basically what haki is. Scream and tense muscles really hard, and then you punch someone, and it works. It
Make a
just
whole
works.
crowd pass out.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is probably how kids think that anger works.
I mean, we're a generation that's been ruined by Dragon Ball Z when it comes to portrayals of anger.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Speaking of Dragon Ball, a lot of aliens in this actually, a lot of aliens. As we see Alan the alien, we find out that obviously Viltrumites, Flaxens, that are aliens from another dimension, and Martians, as well as weird parasites on Mars. There's a ton of different alien races, but like we don't. They're just sort of a lot of their abilities are sort of like pastiches
Okay,
from
what do
other
you
things.
do?
There's
Well,
so much in that show.
There
Like,
is, there
yeah.
is.
they don't really deal with a single thing. There's alternate dimensions, aliens, magic, hell.
I love that moment. It's just like he gives him that like piece of paper, and he just goes like he meets Damien Darkblood, like Cecil and Donald, or is it Donald or is it Ronald? And like they finish up meeting him. It's like, and he goes, "How you doing?" And he just goes, "Well, I was an atheist." It just reminds me so much of like there's a moment in Supernatural that they do something like that, whereas like this guy is like, "Oh, you're the prophet of God." He goes, "But I'm an atheist, not anymore." God personally wrote messages that only you could read.
That's about right.
That is funny. That is brilliant. Did you guys have anything else to bring up? Any powers that you thought was interesting or made you
I don't know
think?
about interesting, but War Woman could crush me. But she's dead now.
Is this another sort of? I don't.
Huh?
I.
War Woman?
I think that they were.
Don't think too deeply about this,
No,
Joe. Just
no.
don't.
I'm done. I'm done. It's so hot here. I'm so done. I was actually
Leave
gonna
We're
me
say
coming.
be. Leave me to my
Aquarius.
simping. Ugh.
Aquarius. Just fish man.
Aquarius.
Uh, mm,
What's your star sign, Aquarius?
What's your power? I
Anyway,
am a big fish. I am a waterbender, and that is my whole shtick. And I'm like,
If he,
cool.
well, if he just has two kids that are named Pisces and are twins.
wait, seriously?
I
I
mean,
did see
No,
the fish kids. There were fish kids at the funeral.
yeah, so it makes me
yeah, there was a
wonder.
fish wife as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the wife. I remember the kids though.
Damn, there's some weird stuff in that series. I, I'd have to
Ah,
say, like, there was another power that I saw that I wanted to bring up, but I cannot remember for the life of me. Darn. I mean, obviously there's kaiju. Like, there's like monsters, dragons, kaiju, which is crazy that those exist in that world. Although not that far fetched, considering that hell exists and literally like most of the globe is protected by aliens that can live over 1,000 years old. So
Wait, now I have a question because you brought that up. Is hell like universal
or is
or
it only for
galaxical?
or is it
Yeah.
only for like
Oh,
what if it's the
that's a
Rick
good
and Morty
question.
thing? Like your afterlife is only based on your planetary belief system. Like if you swapped over to another belief system, would your personal afterlife be dependent on that thing? Because in Rick and Morty, there's that one guy, there's that one alien who's like their religion is we believe that like if we are killed by a great powerful warrior, we'll then ascend and then we'll go to this great place. And they're like our afterlife is orgasmic and it's beautiful for the rest of eternity. And then like he gets hit by a car because he then like Morty then starts making him believe otherwise, and then he gets hit by a car instead of being killed by a great warrior, and he then gets dragged down by like these freaking wraiths of like darkness. And Rick goes, well, good news, I now know that they have an afterlife. And
Oh
it does
shit.
not look good. So I wonder if that might be the possibility, like the afterlife is completely different, or if it's universal. Because there are certain shows that do that, where they state that like, oh yeah, heaven and hell are pretty much the same concept. It's just because of the way that like different aliens pass down or different races pass down their belief system. They all believe it operates slightly similarly, but there are a few differences in subtext and scriptures and stuff.
Interesting.
The world may never know.
Yeah. The only
Unless
other
it's
thing I thought was interesting to bring up is I like the what do you call the alternate dimension aliens, the green ones?
Flaxons.
Flaxons. I liked that whole little mini arc with them of how every time they showed up they were so much more advanced and they learned how to counteract them. That was just a neat little detail that
That was brilliant, yeah.
yeah.
It was pretty good.
And
And then their planet got fucked up.
it just the finale of we get Omni Man kind of reveals what his plan is because I think everyone was kind of thinking at this point like, well, what's up with the Viltrumites? Or is it just him? Then he said, "Earth isn't yours to conquer." It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool.
So I have to be honest. I was a little dim with optimism because I thought maybe he's still good. Because when he goes, "Earth isn't yours to conquer," I thought maybe it's
Oh yeah.
maybe I was thinking, yeah, Earth isn't yours to conquer. As I'm like, no, this is not yours to conquer. It is mine to protect. But
Mhm.
obviously, that was more optimism at that point rather than me blindly going, yeah, it's not yours to conquer. Yeah, no, I was thinking it could also be strode this way if you really push the
Yeah.
definition. Be good,
Joe
please.
really was like in the stands cheering on Omni Man while like Paul and I were just like, no, nobody, no.
I, I'm not saying that I was a fanboy of him, but yeah,
Oh, I still love Omni Man, but I was just like, ugh.
it's so difficult. Uh,
Uh,
Their flight is apparently different as well. Their flight operates differently to apparently normal believed flight. Like they don't have to kick off anywhere. Their ability just allows them to defy gravity in any way, shape, or form. So they can move omnidirectionally regardless of how strong the gravitational pull is.
they are in creative mode.
I
Yeah,
told
pretty much.
you.
And it even says that you
Just
don't need to kick off against the ground. You just literally you can fly backwards or forwards. Basically, fake super speed as well, because like their flight is faster than they can run.
That's interesting. It
So,
makes me wonder if there
Also,
was just an oddity where someone could actually control gravity among Viltrumites.
I mean, there could be that possibility, but I don't think so. I mean, they seem to state that like all Viltrumites have the same power set, because it's more like
Huh.
a
yeah,
racial thing rather than an anomaly.
Okay.
yeah, because like they threw down with each other to figure out who would be the strongest, and then what
Hmm.
was left started conquering people.
I mean, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if you had all that power, wouldn't you?
I would actually probably not have a job and just rub banks. I mean, what?
Being a criminal doesn't pay. How much does being a superhero pay? Sudden realization on face.
God, I don't know. I don't know. That
I would
probably
be.
real. First, I'd have to deal with the fact of knowing that everyone I love would probably die before I do, and I'd have to cross that bridge first.
Yeah, but hear me out. Hear me out. You would be able to watch One Piece until it dies.
You'd be able to.
Mm.
I don't know. 1,000 years doesn't seem like long enough. I feel like Oda will probably pass this on to his children and to his children's children, and then at that point you get to the end of 1,000 years and like, finally, I've come to the end of One Piece. It is ready. I am finally ready for the ending, and then it just goes, to be continued? Question mark. No.
Oh, I
And
Two Piece. with the main character's son, Boofy, the prince of all pirates.
I
Yeah.
ruined it.
no, no, no. Um, I God, I see the ending of One Piece.
So I hope that I live long enough for that to be a thing that I can see with my own eyes. I was going to ask for the end of this podcast, because we are now coming to it. If you could have any of the powers from any of these different ones, but you could only pick one of them, with all the ups and all the downsides, which one would you want?
Ugh, ugh. Do you got one, Cookie? I got an idea if you want to. If unless you want to go.
Well, you can go ahead. I gotta think.
Okay. Well, first I got a question. I heard some people saying it was Cecil's power, some people saying it was technology to teleport thing. What was that?
It's actually a piece of
It was
technology.
technology.
Okay, dang it, because Nightcrawler's always been a power I've always wanted, because aside from Nightcrawler being my favorite X-Men, but still.
Yeah, teleporting is super cool.
Mm.
No one ever shows to have it. I mean, teleporting is shown as a piece of technology, but yeah, never an actual power
Let me think.
yet.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like realistically, I would have like shrink rays because I'm a basic bitch. But if I could have the power of anyone, Adam Eve.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Well, okay, hear me out though, because I don't want to work anymore. I'm done. I I just want to sit on my ass all day.
Yeah,
And I
fair
feel
enough.
like with Adam Eve, I could make money. Or at
So
least have people pay for my services. Like if they want me to build houses, they have to pay me a fee. And then I can just like wave a hand and there's houses.
so you just basically want to have creative mode powers. You want to
Yes.
be a god.
I want to ride on capitalism with my powers, yes.
Yeah, fair enough.
uh,
Do you have one for him?
I'm still thinking because teleporting's the one that's really sticking out to me. Then I wanted to say Rexplosion. Then I'm like, no, wait, that's Gambit Light, Great Value Gambit.
Yeah,
Because
great
Rex
value
is pretty cool.
gambit.
Rex's powers are pretty cool. They're not as powerful as Gambit's, but they still relatively interesting.
I know. I'm trying not to be too hard on it. Just a lot of the powers I can think of. I'm just thinking of others that have more variety that I kind of like.
I have to be honest. Knowing my dumbass self, I'd either ask for a power that would end up having some horrific downside, like super speed, but it's always turned on, or because also something else that you guys don't understand, like none of us understand really. If he's always perceiving time that way, that means that like he's speaking a million miles per hour, and he actually has to Speak real slow, just so people understand what he is saying. For him, that must be awful. Because if he actually spoke at his right speed, we might not ever
We never
hear
understand him.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, like, because that's what I was thinking. Red Rush would probably be my second choice, but I don't know. Like, I'd much rather go Flash, and my weakness is just I'm hungry as I normally am already.
I'd say either Immortal or and this is gonna be controversial. I wouldn't mind being a Viltrumite, I have to be honest.
Oh my god, you basic white male.
Just hear me out, alright? So it means that I'd either be A, a child of one of the survivors, or B, I would have somehow gained the ability to be one of the strongest fighters somehow to be a survivor. I'd just say that I'm conquering Earth and just chill. Like, what is the point? Like, have you conquered Earth yet? Nah, you see, guys, I gotta be honest, this planet actually has something going for it. What's that? They call it Netflix.
You know what? They have some nice alcohol here. I think I'll stay.
That's a question, actually. Does alcohol affect them?
I don't know. You did see Omni-Man drink occasionally.
But we never saw him drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a test that I'm willing to learn.
It's time to do shots for the Viltrumite.
Yeah.
Okay. Green Ghost was pretty cool.
Yet?
I'm kind of thinking.
Yeah.
That was the other one that I couldn't. Yes.
I'm literally looking up the wiki just to remember her name, but yeah, Green Ghost power was cool.
See, I think, in all honesty, I have to be honest, her costume and her abilities were the one that stuck out the most to me, because she seemed like as if she was halfway between a DC character and, funnily enough, a Ben 10 alien.
Yeah.
So I was like,
okay. There was a Ben 10 alien really similar, actually.
There's at least a couple, yeah.
Fallen, since you brought her up, I would like to say she could have lived. She could have lived.
Oh, no, we're not even getting into this one again. Also, I want to point out that, like, Omni-Man used a couple of the Guardians as, like, human weapons. And we spoke about this on a POW podcast at one point, how horrific that would be if you get smacked by another human body. I
understand. I'm just saying you could have just flew her happy ass away.
Yeah, but that's not what she was about. And that's why she's dead. Because she wasn't about living. She was about being a green ghost.
Boo.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, you'd say those powers then, Fawn?
Yeah, Green Ghost was pretty unique, and I liked it.
At least you could choose when they were on or off. Like, you just put the gem in your mouth.
Yeah.
That seemed fine. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
It seemed like the right balance, because main powers I was thinking was Red Rush, because all speed powers are always one I thought was pretty neat as well. But I'm a very impatient person. I would go nuts if I was him.
Oh yeah, I'd full on go insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would become the villain of my own story.
I think I'd be the villain of my own story quite literally. I think I would go so mad through not only like my impatience but my creativity that I'd eventually create an accidental like role in my own head, almost like split personality, and I'd just do like reverse Flash level stuff where I just ruin my own life.
Barry.
My goals are beyond your understanding, but why am I doing this to myself? Don't ask questions that you cannot answer.
But I'm me. It's me.
It's just that thing at the end of at the end of the thing. It's just like, like I said before, I am the future Flash. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this was kind of an interesting episode. Well, I say kind of. This is a really interesting episode, actually. Thank you, both of you, for joining me for this.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Thanks
you.
for having
I
me.
enjoyed being here. It was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry.
that's fine. It's fine.
Discord.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Fallen Monk D20. Did you want to plug anything from your end? Twitter, YouTube, anything?
Yeah, I'm FallenmonkD20 on pretty much every social media. I'm mainly on YouTube and Twitter, but I'm doing TikTok now, so that's pretty fun.
You're growing. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
I'm growing.
And what kind of content may they be able to find if they go onto any of those websites?
All right. Twitter usually me sometimes talking about D&D, but mainly me making stupid jokes. On the rest of them making stupid D&D jokes. I combined the two.
Yeah.
Love it. And thank you very much, Cookie, for joining us again. Is there anything that you'd like to plug?
Well, you can find me on Twitter and TikTok as CookieSwagga. I am looking into trying to do something else with my YouTube, but right now I am poor. So that's gonna take a bit. But just check me out on TikTok. I sometimes post on there, and on Twitter I just yell about D&D stuff or yell at people. I don't know.
And if you
Body
liked,
yelling.
Mostly yell at people.
and if you liked any content here that I just did with these two, we have a few other things where I have done campfire stories, which they'll be coming back at some point, where I sit down with different people, different guests, as they tell me about their tabletop RPG experiences, either through them telling me about their characters or about just their favourite campaigns. We also do podcasts about special things like this, tropes in fiction, video games, or even just superpowers in general. In fact, I even did a review of Invincible with Cookie a few weeks back, so if you'd like to check that out, check me out at Animite Tales on YouTube or at Animite Tales on Twitter. I'm also building a game, a tabletop RPG called Animite Tales, and at some point I will actually have just a little small 2-3 minute video explaining what it actually is, so that people actually get a better grasp of it. So if you'd like to check that out, definitely check this out. Thank you ever so much for both of you for joining me. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, commit arson, kids.
Wait, what?
Huh?
I don't agree with what she said, but thanks for having me.
Well, thank you very much for everyone for listening. Take care and have a wonderful night.
Mm-hmm.